All right, G-Day is upon us. We got a lot of questions, even more quarterback questions, wide receiver questions, outside linebacker questions, cornerback questions, and many, many more as we approach G-Day on Saturday. This is Believe in Georgia Dogs. All right, welcome in. We hope you have. We're geared up for a great weekend. This is the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Network, presented by BetOnline.ag and the Row One brand. Joining me is my main man, Israel Troop. Man, what's up?
What's up, brother? Just waiting on this wonderful weather to come through, and man, excited about G this weekend.
Dude, I'm so pumped because there's so many storylines with this team that I'm excited to see how they shake out. But more importantly, Masters is the unofficial start of spring in the Southeast, right? Mm-hmm. The official one is like based on the calendar and the moons and all that stuff, but not in the Southeast. It's based on when the Masters is. So as you can see from my face, that spring has started here in Tennessee. It's been really nice all week. I've done announcing in a couple of baseball games, so you can tell I'm getting some sun. So this is great.
Must be nice because it's been raining here all day today. I think our spring finally hits tomorrow, which is, not mad about it with it being Friday.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. Friday, that last bell can't get here soon enough, so you can get outside and enjoy it. But we are presented by BetOnline.ag. They continue to be the number one source for all your betting needs, especially in the sport of basketball. With NBA playoffs cranking up, my Atlanta Hawks made it past the play-in game, so they will advance into the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. So you can find all your latest odds, contests, team matchups, and game trends at BetOnline. Updated odds from everything from those last play-in games to the finals game 7, anything in between. You can also bet on hockey. You can also bet on hockey and baseball as well. XFL, USFL when that starts here pretty soon. And BetOnline is your sports headquarters this season, especially NBA. Head to the website today. Use your mobile device to sign up. Receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your bonus. BetOnline.ag, it's where the game starts. G-Day, 3 o'clock, Saturday, ESPN, red versus black. Now, there was a debate. So I want to ask you this question before we get into like specific position battle stuff and personnel stuff. There's been this debate on whether or not, and this is kind of a unique topic, but whether or not like spring games should actually be like, is this where with the way Power 5 is going, should springtime be the time where you play your FCS opponent and help out an in-state FCS program?
I saw that. I think it was, who was it? Hugh Freeze kind of brought it up in his press conference the other day. I think he was talking about, playing Troy and, like Alabama play UAB, which I think is a great idea. Down here in Georgia, I don't know how you guys do in Tennessee, but you can actually play, an opponent, for your spring game.
We can too. We have up to 2 spring scrimmages.
Yeah. So down here, you could either play a spring game or have 2 scrimmages in the fall. But I think it's a great idea. I think it's a time to where you really get to evaluate, your team against another opponent. Going into spring, obviously you don't want any injuries and things like that. I think it has to be controlled in a controlled environment, kind of like how you do inter-squad scrimmages, as far as special teams and things like that, because you don't want injuries. But I think it's a good idea. I think it's a time where, like you say, your FCS schools, your lower Power 5 schools can come in and, earn a little bit of money. Your FCS schools can come in because FCS against, let's say FCS against SEC, they've had a lot of success against a couple of SEC teams. And I think the competition would be great. So I'm a fan of it. I do think, you don't want anybody to get hurt, so it has to be controlled. But I think it's a great idea. I think it's something that they need to explore moving forward. Because, at the end of the day, how I look at it for spring practice, if you're going against each other, defense knows your players, the defensive players. The only thing, like in G-Day, it's not scripted for the defense anymore. But when you're going against another team, you kind of get to see, your team against, another opponent, which I think is very important. That's why we go to OTAs and things like that against other teams in the summertime.
Yeah, you just get fresh legs out there, and your guys can see people that don't know exactly what they're doing. There's no film study or anything like that. But for TV, I was always kind of curious, like how that would play out on TV. As far as I think that's probably the last hurdle as far as the logistics of doing something like that. But like, how would it play out on TV with a controlled scrimmage and no special teams? I mean, would that be something that TV would be willing to say, okay, we can play this format of college football as long as we're getting these matchups? Do you think that's possible, or do you think TV and the greed behind all the sponsorship dollars and ad dollars that they would want to see just an actual game?
And I think that, I think they want to see a game, which the spring game is a game in itself. Because you got to think a lot of teams like last year, FSU, they did, indie drills for like the first half, and then they came out inter-squad scrimmage after that. But I think if you add an opponent to it, so that team's advertising crew can come in, add a little bit, and, like say Georgia, comes in, their advertising team can add a little bit to it too. I think it adds a little bit more excitement because, it's not just Georgia versus Georgia. It'd be like, let's say Georgia versus South Alabama or something like that, something like that, to where Georgia versus Georgia State, a deal like that to where, all right, you got your in-state talent, they just rotate every year of who plays who, and you just make it fun. Georgia can go to Turner Field and play, things like that. So I think it's just fun. I think you add a little bit more excitement to it. So at the end of the day, we get tired of spring after a while, from a player standpoint, because I remember it. After spring game, you're like, oh, thank God it's over. I'm tired of hitting y'all, the whole time. And that's why there's so much excitement for when football season starts, because, players get tired of hitting on each other every day. You're just hitting and going against each other every single day.
And there's nothing at the end of the tunnel. Even the thought of lobster and steak just didn't fire you up, did it?
No, not at all. Because, we never really got the lobster aspect of it like they do now, which, that's neither here nor there. But I think it'll be fun. I think it's a fun idea. Even if you put that neutral site, say Georgia plays at Georgia Tech plays in Athens, just make it fun, Go to the lesser venue, go to Kennesaw State and have something at their venue. Like, I think that would be a boost for those programs. That's what I think that's the primary reason for it, is to elevate some of these FCS schools, some of these lower budget schools that need these games, and you don't have to schedule them in the fall to make room for more Power 5 games, which absolutely.
Is going to be
if you think about it. With with Texas and Oklahoma coming in to the SEC.
Nine-game conference schedule.
So those games are now few and far between. And also, you don't want any cupcake games in there because you're playing SEC teams almost every week now. So you're going to need some top-notch competition to keep you going, because what happens, like us against Kent State, you saw we just kind of milked our way through and kind of got through, and it kind of bit us, the next game. So, you don't want those games to where, guys are caught looking ahead. So I think it'll be good. I think it'll be fun. I think Dion was on board too. I know one person at SEC would definitely be on board, is Lane Kiffin as well. So I think it's only a matter of time before.
I think Kirby would ultimately be on. I think they would be in favor of it.
Absolutely. I think Nick Saban, your top-notch guys, will definitely be in favor because it's different, something different. But like I said, I know it's a safety issue. Most importantly, outside of making money from it. So just find a way to keep everybody safe, as they go into the summer and head into fall camp. And I think come up with a plan. And I wouldn't be surprised to see it in a couple of years.
Yeah, I think it would be more controlled than a real fall game because, football is a violent game by nature. So like, there's going to be injuries that happen just in like you could get an injury in a one-on-one drill. I mean, let's be honest about that. So I think the concern outside of, a normal run of football is a little bit, I don't know that that's a factor, but I think it's going to be,
at some point, with, all the guys on the team, like your walk-ons and, your third and fourth string guys, when do you play those guys? Things like that too kind of got to, be worked out too. But I definitely think it's a time to where, you think about it. I'm glad that Hugh Freeze brought it up because I think it's a great idea. If high schools are doing it, the NFL is doing it, with their exhibition games at the beginning of the season. So I think college, is kind of, I think you can get one in, and be okay.
Yeah. I mean, you get your 1s and 2s for the first half and you get your 3s, 4s and walk-ons and the rest of the guys, the rest of the game. Treat it like an NFL preseason game. The guys that are surefire starters, play them like a couple series and pull them and let the other guys that you need to evaluate play most of the game. I mean, it's just like an NFL preseason game. It's no different.
Absolutely. You need those guys to get that game experience anyway. And what's a better way to do that with I know Athens is obviously going to be packed, but hear the crowd and it be constant, crowd noise and, distractions and things like that to where they get used to it already. So by the time fall hits and the fall and that first game hits, they kind of got that on their belt and it's not even a factor anymore.
Can you imagine like a Georgia Southern versus Valdosta State matchup? Like in the spring, they're just scrimmaging each other. Like that would be fun to watch because you never see that. You would never see that.
Like the West Georgias and your Shorters and your Mercer versus Kennesaw State or like Georgia State or, things like that. So, because
Georgia State versus Tech,
so you might as well. Georgia Tech versus Georgia State would be absolutely amazing because they're literally right across the street from each other.
Yeah. So, the battle of Spring Street.
Absolutely.
The battle for the varsity.
Battle of 285.
Winner gets the varsity. So
there you go.
That'd be hilarious. But I would love to see it. But until it happens, I guess it's only just a pipe dream. So let's move along. We may go into overtime here with a little bit. We may not get all the questions answered, but that's okay. But the quarterbacks, like we've talked about them ad nauseum. It's an important position, so obviously it probably needs to be talked about. But what are you looking for from these quarterbacks when you watch G-Day?
I'm looking to see, obviously Carson Beck's number one right now. I'm looking to see him take command in the offense, which I think he has, but I think it's time to see him in a position where he's not splitting reps every other series. He can, sustain drives and things like that, ready to see who's going to be the backup. I still think it's a competition between Brock and Gunner. Gunner's doing a phenomenal job, but I think he's behind simply because Brock came in early. He's a year older. So, and Gunner was down on the scout team. So I'm looking to see, how he's progressed, throughout this spring. And, just looking to see who the guys have confidence in, from a standpoint of, are you a game manager or your playmaker? That's really what it is. So I think Carson, it's time for Carson to step up and show that this is mine. But I also think that those guys need to continue to push him every single day.
Yeah, I want to see poise from Beck. I want to see when he throws a bad pass, when he gets pressured, I want to see the poise in the pocket. I want to see him bounce back and make a brilliant throw after a bad one. That's the thing I need to see out of Carson Beck because I haven't seen that. That will get him from game manager to playmaker.
Yes.
For Brock, I think we've got to see the dynamic style that he brings. I think we need to see that come, onto the table. I think we need to see throws on the run. I think we need to see, I don't know how much they're going to be involved in the run game, obviously. So that's going to be, this doesn't favor Gunner at all because some of the things he does really well is run the football as part of the running game. But, you need to see Brock take command of this offense. You need to see him throw with confidence. And Gunner, he's going to have to find some way to make up ground. So he's going to have to be electric. He's going to have to come in and just be one of those guys where you're just like, he makes more wow plays than both Carson and Brock for him to have a chance going into fall camp. So in a Mike Bobo system, how does a Gunner Stockton make up ground in a competition like he's in?
He just got to be there every day. After talking with, Christian LeMay and, I was there with him during that transition as well. Aaron Murray and Hudson Mason were in front of him. It's one of those deals to, can you handle it? Or if you kind of see the writing on the wall, because I think Carson Beck has one more year, 2 more years, something like that. Are you willing to wait?
I think maybe 2.
Yeah. So are you willing to wait, or do you think, hey, I kind of see the writing on the wall, kind of see where this is going, because recruiting doesn't stop. So they're looking for somebody else to come in and to get the job done. So it's just going to be one of those situations to where play within yourself, do your job, and I think you'll be fine. But I think the competitor within Gunner will be fine. But like you said, I'm looking for Carson to take command of this offense. He's got a great offensive line. He's got some playmakers behind him, some playmakers out wide, most definitely. The best tight end group in the nation to help him out as well. So it's just up to him now. It's his job to lose, in my opinion.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, you talked about the weapons outside of him. Some of the guys that I think have really kind of opened some eyes, and some of the guys that you talked about, especially. But, for what I want to see from the 2 new guys, Dominic Lovett and Rara Thomas, I want to see them build a rapport. I want to see them just kind of get acquainted and be comfortable within the offense, because you'll be able to, within their first few plays, you'll be able to tell if you watch them if they're comfortable or not. And if they're not comfortable, they're just going to look clunky. There may be some miscommunications, things like that. I want to see them be able to have a rapport, because they can make some plays. Rara Thomas did it at Mississippi State. He's electric. And Dominic Lovett is a speed guy. He's a slot guy, somebody that can really make, hurt you in a lot of ways. I want to see them get acquainted. Dylan Bell, he's right there on the cusp of being a really top-notch rotational guy, because I don't think he's going to crack the starting lineup with Arian Smith, Marcus Rosemy, Jack Saint, and Ladd McConkey. I don't think he's going to crack that top 3. Those 3 are just too good. But I think he can get some serious reps, especially if they go like 10 personnel. He can be the next guy in, or Dominic Lovett's going to be the next guy in, or like how's Dylan Bell with a year in the system under his belt? How is he going to separate from the 2 newcomers? Can he separate from the 2 newcomers? Can he carve out a niche for himself? And then, before you go, Arian Smith, I'm excited to see him become a legit deep threat.
Absolutely. Lovett, just from being at spring practice, is the most polished out of the 2 that we got this year. Dylan Bell is obviously, he's the shorter, quicker, physical guy. Robert Thomas is getting his feet wet, just learning this system, because, Mike Leach's system is totally different than what we're doing right now. So I'm pretty sure his wheels are spinning, but I think he'll learn it as he goes along. The fact that we have so many weapons, I mean, we have legit 6 receivers that can go in at any time. And if history repeats itself, Georgia does rotate receivers, all the time.
A good deal.
So everybody's going to get a shot. Everybody's going to play. But right now, to me, McConkey, Rosemy, Jack Saint, and Arian Smith are the 3 that are going to start it for me. Just from me watching, and just from what they've done, the past couple of years. Obviously, we got Brock coming in as well. So, when we go 11 personnel, Brock's obviously going to be in the game. But we have the option to go, double O personnel, empty type stuff with legit 5 wides. Go 10 personnel with Bowers coming off. going straight forward wide. So we have that option this year to be able to do that.
So we can get some 10 personnel looks with Brock and with 11 personnel in also.
Absolutely. And don't forget Meeks. Meeks has had a great, has had a great spring as well. And like I said earlier, he is a large young man that can run really, really fast. They can do a lot of things. He's a very physical guy too. One thing we do well is throw screens. I think Coach Bubba has done a good job of getting the ball to the fast guys and letting those guys work. It's very unselfish offense if you really think about it, because anybody can catch the ball. Obviously, you're going to get the ball to your playmaker. So having the option of we legit have seven. I think about 6 to 7 legit receivers right now. That can go get it. So I'm excited to see those guys that not just, I wouldn't say make plays, just gel with the quarterback. You know what I mean? Obviously, they're going to make plays, but just gel with the new quarterback, create some chemistry, and I'm excited to see what they do in the spring game.
And when you say chemistry, you mean like Carson Beck or Brock Vandegrift or Gunnar Stockton, whoever's ended up being quarterback one, could be blindfolded and throw to a spot and know that they're going to be there. That's what I consider chemistry.
Yes,
just
the fact that
without
whoever's in there, no matter whether it's Arian Smith or Ladd, obviously going to be the guy. Bowers is going to be the guy from a tight end standpoint. But just knowing that the rest of your guys are going to be there when you need them, they can go make that play. They can beat anybody out wide because we're the hunted now. We're back to back. National champions.
We're never the hunted. We're always the hunters.
What we've built the last couple of years offensively needs to continue. So obviously we know our defense is going to be great, but you got to score points in this league, especially now in order to win football games. So just going to be one of those deals to where let's keep it going. We've had a good recruiting class. These guys are dynamic, man. Just watching the length that we have, the athleticism that we have out wide, I'm very impressed. So we have our offensive lines coming back. So it's really going to come down to who's throwing the football, in my opinion, at the end of the day.
Yeah. And whoever that is going to earn it. And they're going to have a lot of good weapons to throw to. They're also going to have a lot of good weapons to turn around and hand the ball off. So to me, the guy that stands to benefit the most from G-Day because of injury mostly is Branson Robinson, who they call Baby Chubb. And he has a legitimate chance to carve out a role for himself and really kind of force another 3 running back rotation. You have Dejon Edwards and obviously Kendall Milton, both of them battling injuries throughout this spring. Probably not going to see much of them in the G-Day game. But again, Branson Robinson has a huge opportunity in front of him to carve out a really, really nice role for himself. And I'm excited to see it because that dude, when he came in relief as like a closer role late in a lot of these games last season, impressive. Just the way he runs, the vision that he runs like a freight train. He's going to be a special one. He's going to be a special dude.
Absolutely. It's one of those deals to where when you're playing running back, it has to be natural. And he's a natural running back, kind of like the 2 that we have in front of him right now. And sometimes, with injuries, you hate it, obviously, especially if you're the player. Trust me, I've had plenty of them. But at the same time, if you're the next guy up, you got to seize the opportunity. So with Miss Robinson, it's just the point to where, all right, hell, I'm the man now in my mind, with injuries and, you never know how much time they're going to get Saturday. I'm looking to light this thing scoreboard up right now, trying to show what I got and can I be dependable. Right now, it's just, can you be dependable? Because there may be a point to where you may be in every down back. And the other 2 are switching with you. So, this is definitely a time to seize the opportunity, and have fun, man. Obviously your talent has gotten you here. You were obviously in the rotation last year as well. Now it's just time to solidify how much playing time you're going to get when the fall happens. Well, leading into the fall.
Yeah, for sure. And the guys blocking for him, Blasky and Green, Austin Blasky and Ernest Green, competing for that other tackle spot, probably the left tackle spot, because I think Mims, who is a giant human being, by the way, is going to be playing at right tackle. and future Sunday player. And when I say future, I mean like the near future. This offensive line is going to be really fun to watch. If you like offensive line play, which we are both coaches, we love offensive line play. And
love the heavy bellies. Love the heavy bellies.
Yeah, these. If you love heavy belly football, this is the team to watch, man. This is Van Pran, Ratledge, and you have Amarius Mims who can play across the board, and so many other guys that can just step in and just destroy you and demoralize you.
Yeah, this offensive line reminds me a lot of the Alabama offensive line when Leatherwood and that group came in. We're actually talking about that in the coach's office the other day. Just the sheer size, experience that we got coming at Evan,
and the way they move too. They're not just big; they can move. They
are athletic as all get out. Coach Shorts has come in and done a great job that Coach Lou kind of established before he left. So this group is very, very, very fun to watch, and it's only going to get better. When you have guys that are 6'8", over 300 pounds that can move the way that Mims moves, that can move the way that Ratledge moves. You have a center, that's smart, that can get you in and out of situations. And Van Pran, I mean, that's just a recipe for greatness. And
it is. As
you can see, 2 national championships later, we still rocking and rolling.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So we got to get some love to the heavy bellies, but let's go over to defense real quick before we wrap this thing up. I guess the biggest storyline to watch, I mean, obviously the defensive backfield and the defensive line are stacked. We know that, and we're going to see them make plays. But I want to see these outside linebackers, especially our 3 true freshmen, how they get thrown into the fire. And they're going to get a huge chance on Saturday because Michael Williams is out right now with injury. We know what he is. But Gabe Harris, who you're a big fan of, Samuel Mpemba and Damon Wilson, all 3 of them at times head was swimming, at other times big time playmakers, but they're early enrollee freshmen, so that's to be expected. I want to see how comfortable they can get within this defensive scheme. I want to see how far they've come from day 1 of spring practice to day 15 of spring practice. So this is going to be a fun watch and see who kind of says, all right, I'm the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was there, I think Mbemba was a little bit ahead of the curve for the other 2. Then Harris is right behind him.
That's the IMG in him.
Yeah, just from watching the 2 days that I was there. But I've seen Gabe Harris in person. That young man is what Kirby says and what we say all the time, a dog. So I think it's just the point to where once he learns, what to do. And he will. He's a very smart player. He's a very instinctive player as well. And he's just a physical guy. He's a physical guy. I think he had our quarterback running for his life a lot of the night from the simple fact that, he was just pushing people out of the way. But it's going to be interesting to see how these guys develop. Right now it's just, all right, you're a freshman, you came in early, you're excited. You got yelled at and cussed out every day because you're
yes.
Yes. Kirby Smart's telling you you're a 5-star and that doesn't matter anymore, but, once the dust settles, they get out there Saturday and they're able to actually play and not have to worry about, this, that, and the third, and they're just able to play football. I think they'll be fine. That's the thing, but when you're coming in early, once you're on the grass, you're just able to play football, like a game situation. I think it kind of everything takes care of itself after a while.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm excited too. And just to kind of see how they handle the ebbs and flows of what's happening in front of them. So I'm excited about that. Also, I'm excited to see who's going to be CB2. Obviously Kamari Lassiter has made quite the impression, taking over for Keely Ringo in that top corner spot. Is it going to be Nyland Green, who's had a really nice spring practice, or is it going to be Dalen Everett, who's also had a really nice spring practice session? So those 2 guys are going to be competing for that other starting spot, and I guess the other one will kind of rotate in at nickel or star or whatever. Like, they'll be packages to where they get 3 corners on the field, and those 2 plus Corey Lassiter will be on the field. But, to add one of those 2 to the bunch with Javon Bullard, to add him to the bunch with Tyke Smith and Malachi Starks, dude, this is the most excited I've been for a secondary since Richard LeCount was patrolling back there.
Man, absolutely. The days of having Baker, LeCount, having Dominic Sanders, and then you go all the way back to Boykin, Sanders Cummings,
Bakari Rambo.
Bakari Rambo. Then you go all the way back to Mentor.
Demario Mentor.
Mentor. You got
Blue, Thomas Davis, Sean Jones, Kentrell Curry.
And Tim Jennings, all the way back to them, so
Tim Jennings and I, we were freshmen at the same time.
Absolutely. I love Tim. And just going back, we produce corners, got back to Win Kirby, Baycham Bailey, Kirby Smart,
that guy.
All
those 2.
And, we've always been really good in the secondary, despite everything that everybody kind of says, but that CB2 is really going to be interesting. With Everett and Nyland Green. I'm a huge Nyland Green fan. Like I said, I've been waiting on this young man to burst onto the scene, and he really has. He's got some competition behind him. With Stark and Bullard and Tyke Smith. Those guys are solidified right now. Tyke Smith coming off an injury has been lights out. Kirby's looking to him to kind of lead that group on the back end. Bullard coming in after having a phenomenal season last year. Stark being the freshman coming in and doing what he did last year. I think this is the first year in a long time to where we aren't worried about secondary. It's just the point of who's going to be that other guy.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm excited to see it. My prediction is Nyland Green. I think it's going to end up jumping up there and getting that. I think he's just got a,
I think on this day.
He's just some of the physical attribute stuff. I think he's just got a slight leg up over Dalen Everett, which is not a bad thing for Dalen Everett. I think it's going to be a pretty nice little battle there. But I think Nyland Green has just been just a hunch for me. But before we get out of here, UGA 11 is going to be unveiled on Saturday too, so that's some exciting stuff. So we got a new UGA coming in.
Really, don't let Peter know that, because they were really upset about that.
Yeah.
Let me just say this,
Peter, if you're listening, this is the end of the show. And all right, we're going to do the PETA ending right now, and that's the end of the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Network. We'll see you back here next week. Go Dogs! Okay, now we can talk. All right, yeah, we're getting a new UGA.
Absolutely, man. PETA lives better than most humans. You know what I mean? So.
He doesn't live better than those humans.
Yeah, they have phenomenal owners who have been a staple, in UGA history for a very, very long time. Mm-hmm. So this is very exciting to see a new UGA unveiled, and it's a great time to be in Athens right now. My hope is this UGA is a little more lively than UGA 10. I love UGA 10. UGA 10 presided over 2 national championships, but I hope this UGA is a little more lively. It's going to be interesting to see. Traveling, man, they travel up from Savannah, and those long days, man, just kind of wears the tears on you. Once you get there, you got to take pictures and see all these people. And, just hearing that makes me want to lay on an ice bag. Absolutely. Just living a great dog life. You know what I mean? So it's going to be great. We got the new artwork in the stadium now. They're redoing, I think it's the east end zone part over there. So they got a lot of construction going on. So it's a lot of great things going on in Athens right now. My man Tanner Steins, who's helps in the athletic office, put up some pictures of the new artwork that's going on around the stadium. So, it's gonna be a fun time in Athens this weekend. That's for sure. Heck yeah, I'm excited for it, no doubt. Lots of back-to-back artwork also on display. Maybe Josh Brooks will wear his new kicks that he got from Nike that say back-to-back on them. Not even gonna lie.
Josh, send us a pair if you don't mind. Nike, we could use a pair. We're the fastest growing Georgia podcast. We could definitely use those. So, but it's going to be a good weekend. I think it's going to be a really good marketing weekend. I think we're the only game on national TV.
Yeah,
the only spring game.
UCF plays tomorrow. Does Colorado play next week? I think. Yeah, they got to play next week because they were hitting today at practice today. So I think it's got to be next week.
Okay, yeah, something like that. But well, dude, we're gonna get the people off into their weekend so that they can watch a G Day. So if you're listening to this on Saturday afternoon, G Day is up next. If you're listening to this on Friday in your commute, or you're watching this instead of working, this is your lunch break. So get back to work. But we are the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Network. While you're at it, while you're procrastinating and listening to us or watching us, go to row1brand.com, order your vintage art watch. Dogs 20 is actually your promo code that you want to use. Get you some really nice watches. Or if you have somebody, a friend or a loved one that's a fan of another team that you want to, like, let's say like, for my sake, I married a Clemson girl. So if I wanted to get her a Clemson watch, I could do so. I could still use the Dogs 20 promo code, but I could buy a Clemson watch. Or
all love for everybody.
Yeah. Or let's say you're just feeling really generous and you want to send a Florida watch down to your cousin Ben. You could do that. Just make sure you use promo code Dogs20 to get that discount. Yeah. Don't you don't want to buy a Gator watch, but just use that promo code, get that discount, whatever watch you buy. It's a great one. But we're gonna get out of here again. Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Network, presented by Bet Online and the Row One brand. We hope you have a safe and wonderful weekend. Enjoy G Day. Enjoy UGA 11. Enjoy all the playmakers. Hopefully these questions get answered very clearly that we discussed. And we hope you continue to listen, subscribe, hit the bell notification to know when our next episode is popping up. Find us wherever you find your podcast. Find us on social media as well. If you want a good follow, Israel is a great follow on social media. So make sure you do that. Do it now. I'll give you a chance to do it now, because until next time, we'll see you back here next week. We'll talk about G-Day and beyond. But until then, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Do you believe